Welcome to Living Under New Mexico Skies, brought to you by Parnall Law. In this episode, we meet Rick Anglada, a native New Mexican born and raised in Taos, who brings the laws of Sir Isaac Newton to life in his work investigating car crashes. Rick has spent much of his life serving his community, first as a lieutenant with the New Mexico State Police and later as chief of police in his hometown of Taos. Today, he leads the investigations department at Parnall Law, applying his deep experience in law enforcement to uncover the truth behind vehicle collisions. And stick around to see Rick in the final 5 seconds of Breaking Bad. Hey, Rick, welcome to Living Under New Mexico Skies, man. It's a real pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Yeah. Hey, tell us a little something about yourself.
Well, I am a retired law enforcement officer. Spent 21 years with state police and 2 years as chief of police in my hometown of Taos.
Interesting.
I worked underground mining for several years.
All right, that one has me. I've never met an underground miner, so yeah, we may mine that and come back in a little bit.
very, very deep in the mountains of Cuesta, New Mexico.
Wow, that's incredible. So yeah, interesting profession. So hey, I wanted to ask you about Taos. You're like one of the only people I've ever met who was born and raised there and grew up. You know, we've all gone there for recreation, for to eat, have dinner, to go shopping, for the arts.
Yeah.
What was Taos like growing up there?
It was fun. It was much different than it is now. It was, a quiet little town. Everyone pretty much knew each other. You could play till, 10 at night and run around and no one bothered you.
It was safe.
I had a job in 5th grade as a shoe shine boy in a barber shop. And it was like 2 miles from my home, so I'd ride my 10-speed there and back, in traffic, and it was safe. But I won't let my 5th grader do that now.
No. And the one thing, this is ironic, for anyone who is from Taos, the J.C. Penney's on Main Street. I remember that for years going up there, and it was almost like an institution. When it was gone, I missed it.
Yeah, that was probably like one of the only clothing stores there.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's an interesting area. I mean, you had to come probably to Santa Fe, right, for any kind of big city shopping?
Yeah.
So, and that's quite a drive. So, how's it changed? I mean, what have you seen, especially since you were chief of police? I mean, what changed in that town?
Oh, well, there's just so many more people now, and they've come from all over the world pretty much. It's no longer a secret little town. Hollywood moved there and is they've bought up homes. And
Easy Rider Dennis Hopper was living in the Mabel Dodge Lujan house while he was filming that movie. There's an interesting, famous story that one day he decided to change the oil on his chopper and did it in the living room on the hardwood floor. That's a little bit much, but anyway. So curious. You grew up in Taos. Now you become the chief of police. That transition. Personally, I was public enemy number one. They wanted me out of town. Now, what was it like for you to suddenly be the guy that really was looking out for the safety and well-being of your town and all your neighbors and family?
Well, growing up, I think I always had that calling of being a protector. My best friend and neighbor, he was born with like a crippling disease. He walked with a cane and a crutch, and kids would pick on him. And so I was like a bodyguard. I would protect others that couldn't fight, and I wasn't afraid to fight.
Yeah.
So that was a calling for me, I think. I mean, I wasn't always a good kid. I got in trouble, and I went through the stage of drinking as a teenager, and I had a fake ID so I could buy alcohol.
You too, huh?
So, I learned from the streets how to be a better police officer.
Interesting.
because I've been there and done that. So
Yeah.
they couldn't pull the wool over these eyes.
That's really cool. So, all right. So your next kind of evolution of that law enforcement career was New Mexico Police or State Police, and tell me a little bit about that. I mean, that I know that, and I grew up in Illinois, and from a lot of my friends who did that, and here I imagine the same thing. It was a big deal to make that graduation from local police department to state police.
Well, it was actually the other way around. I was state police first,
Oh,
and then
interesting.
chief after I retired. But with state police, it was a very prestigious career.
Yeah.
Back when I started, it was 1987. There was over 1,000 applicants for my class. They picked the top 34, no, the top 31,
Okay.
but actually only 24 graduated. Now they're scraping the bottom of the barrel looking for people because no one wants to be a
I've
cop
heard,
anymore.
I've heard
So
that's sad. No, congratulations. I mean, that must have been quite an accomplishment. Especially, and again, the state is made up of a lot of small communities, but to come from Taos and to get that accolade and to get that position was really cool. So, yeah, that's great, man. So, any stories you can tell us? Anything interesting out, maybe driving the back roads of New Mexico during that period of time?
yeah, well, my first duty assignment was in Magdalena, New Mexico, which is a really small town,
Middle of nowhere.
and it was also a mining town at one point.
Wow.
And it was called the Trail's End because the railroad ended there. So they would drive all the cattle there, Trail's End, and then load them up in shipping carts and ship them.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I was I was like their state police officer.
Interesting
So
for that
we
region.
made a lot of friends that we still have today
Yeah.
in the short 2 years that we were there.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get down there on Pie Town. It's
Yeah.
one place I want to go. So I'll have to ask you later about the pies there.
Yeah, mostly out west is where I patrolled Pie Town, Quemado, Dattle, Reserve.
That's a lot of driving.
A lot of driving.
That's
I
hard.
Drive
yeah.
like 300 and 400 miles a day.
Oh my Lord, and then you had to do multiple days.
Yeah.
So any interesting stories? Anything a little different? Maybe a little UFO sighting? Maybe when you're out there in the middle of nowhere?
A lot of aircraft flying out there near the VLA, the Very Large Array, where they have the big satellites.
Right. Yeah.
Slow-moving C-130s, and then the quick jets flying really low across the plains.
Almost like a practice area.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, all right, so you come out of the state police, and next thing you know, you're in the FBI, the National Academy, and the class 233. What prompted that? What made you say, you know what? I think I'll step it up. I'm going to go to the FBI Academy.
Well, I was still with state police at the time. It's courses, and the National Academy is for like upper echelon
Right.
leaders in law enforcement from around the world.
Really?
So
Wow.
I think there was 30 states represented and 30 different countries represented in my class.
Wow.
It was about 230 people in my class, and we spent 10 weeks together doing physical fitness training, leadership training,
Interesting.
behavioral studies, human behavior. And
Yeah, I'm curious of those foreign countries. One that sticks out, someone you met from a country you said this person's really interesting, maybe you struck up a friendship. I'm just curious. I always ask people that when they do something on the international level or scale.
yeah, I met a lot of interesting people from Qatar, from
Interesting.
Jordan, from Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
So-
interesting people.
Okay, so now you get that training. Any thoughts in your career path to say, hey, I think I might become an agent? Or were you content to stay here in New Mexico with the state police?
I was content to stay, but it's a career that has always been in the back of my mind.
Yeah. It's that interesting thing of home, local versus on the national scale. Of course, you could have been assigned here too. No guarantees. but you could have been assigned to New Mexico.
Yeah, now
So-
they have an age limit, so I'm too old now. I could get maybe a civilian job.
So, okay, this I found really fascinating in your background and your career is the crash investigation for the New Mexico State Police. 10 years you did that. But I'm an armchair physicist. You know, I'm a Sir Isaac Newton fanboy.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. I've always, you know, I'm fascinated by air crash investigators, car crash investigators. What led you to that? Was it an interest? Did you have a certain thing that experience that led you to it?
I've always been interested in physics myself and the sciences. That was my favorite subject.
Yeah.
I got into investigating crashes and I liked it, so I took courses to become a crash reconstructionist,
Yeah.
which that's the hardest courses in law enforcement.
Really?
The failure rate is just incredible.
Wow.
A lot of math.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And back then when I took the courses, we didn't have computer programs that they do now, so you had to write out all your
Calculator.
equations by hand and with a calculator.
Wow.
And measure by hand. And now they have
AI.
computer programs. They have what's called total stations, where they have tripods and they can shoot lasers and measure scenes
Yeah.
quickly and safely. They don't have to walk across traffic with a roll of tape or a tape
Oh
measure.
my God! Yeah. Yeah, you're right, because it has the spatial recognition. So
Yeah, but physics is just it's super important in finding out how the crash occurred, because cars, with their center of gravity and height and weight, they respond a certain way because of physics. So that's how we can tell if someone is being truthful or not,
interesting.
is because there's only one way that crash could have happened.
Yeah, interesting.
And
Yeah,
so-
this is an interesting sidebar, but in the 80s, I worked on the television campaign for the crash test dummies.
Oh,
And
wow.
I got to go where they do those collisions.
Yeah.
That's got to be a big part of what you did, right? Someone must have been like, maybe smashing up some cars to see what kind of dents and impact at certain speeds. Or did you do it on the ground, running?
I went to one in California that was for pedestrian crash reconstruction, and we actually stood up dummies and hit them with cars, and
That's
seeing how the body reacts,
yeah.
and you learn to calculate speeds based on like where the head strikes,
Right.
damages, things like that. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
Yeah, I heard a story just recently that all of these new pickup trucks with the high profiles are causing a whole nother problem with pedestrian, hits and crashes. That you don't bounce over the hood anymore. Now there's no going up. It's so
they
high.
go over you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, wow, that's a fascinating career. And tell me how that. I know now, and for those of you who don't know, you're an investigator with Parnall Law firm, working on personal injuries. It's an important area because so many times we rely on you and your team to put together the facts, to find things out. How has that transitioned? I mean, the whole car investigation, crash investigation, other parts of your job. Has it been a good transition? Is it an easy fit? Have you had to learn new things now in a new job?
For me, it's been an easy fit. Just just learning the computer programs that we use.
Right.
The civil side versus the criminal side that I worked in law
Yeah,
enforcement
yeah.
is a lot different.
Right.
The standards of proof is different.
Interesting.
But the work, the crash investigation, I think I've brought a lot to the table, and so have Carrie and Tim, the
Right.
other investigators.
Right.
They're both very experienced. So I think it was a natural thing for me to fall into that line of work and bring the knowledge that I had to build up the program that we have now.
Yeah. So you made this interesting point. I'm going to go there with the crash investigation. When it was criminal, when you were there and someone had died or there was a horrible injury, did you feel that sense of responsibility to solve that situation? define who is at fault, define, and do you find that do you still get that same sense of reward and that sense of, I'm going to spend a little extra time on this one, even though it's civil, because I just feel like someone was wronged here, and I got to find justice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the same.
Right.
Finding justice for the wrongfully hurt, which is
our line.
Our line here, our mission.
Yeah.
But it was also that way for me. I wanted to do a good job. I care about people, and if you don't really care about people, law enforcement is going to be a miserable career for you, because you're dealing with people at their worst most of the time.
Put. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that part, helping people and going the extra mile for them, to find their stolen property or, find their missing child or
that's key. Yeah.
people lost in the forest.
Yeah. What's interesting about that is I'm going back to your childhood. What you said, that guy on the streets who was friends with kids in the town and worked out for him. So that's interesting, man. You hope that people who choose this career path, law enforcement, military, they have a sense of that. You know what I mean? It's that calling.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the job, was going into schools and talking to little kids all the way up to high school and even college about that career, and just trying to change their perception of what a cop is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, and
there's a lot of good guys too, and good women and men.
Yeah. And I found that too. I did the advertising for the U.S. Army, and I just became friends with them, and I saw them in a different light. I saw them as, people who were just like me, who chose a different career path.
Yeah.
But they had a calling I didn't have. I don't think I could survive boot camp. I was one of those guys who bombed out of the training that you've gone through. Packed my duffel bag and gone home. So that's really interesting. Any case, any example of something that you've done since you've been here at Parnall that really sticks out, that you're able to talk about? Something that really, our hard work, your team's hard work solved something, solved a problem, found a solution. Maybe everyone thought a certain auto accident or crash happened a certain way, but you guys said, hey, wait a minute, no, it's not that simple.
Yeah, we have a lot of those examples where we'll see something wrong with a police report.
Interesting.
And we have a lot of contacts that are leaders now, because we worked with them way in the past.
When they were young and you were training them.
And now they're leaders in a lot of these departments. So we're able to call them up and say, hey, there's something wrong with this report. Can you guys look into it and write a supplemental? So we've caused that to happen multiple times.
Yeah.
And that's really helped our cases.
Anything, going back to Sir Isaac Newton in physics, anything that when you first looked at something, you went, okay, and then you started really looking at the impact, the skid marks, the crash scene, and you started to go, hold on, something's not right here. Anything that pops into your head, an example of that?
One of the ones that really sticks out is there was a case in Taos. It was a cement mixer truck.
Right.
That struck a small little mini truck.
Ooh, ouch.
And there was a witness who says the cement truck was passing the small truck going the same direction and hit it and knocked it off the road.
Yeah.
And I happen to know the driver of the cement truck. We worked underground together.
Yeah. Oh man.
Back in the day.
Oh, that's too ironic.
So I knew he wouldn't lie to me.
Yeah.
And he says, "No, this little truck pulled out in front of me. I couldn't stop. I tried to swerve around it, but I couldn't." So I looked at the physical evidence, which physical evidence doesn't lie.
Yeah.
So the truck was on the shoulder in the gravel, and thought it could beat the truck, so it accelerates, but it couldn't get traction in the gravel. So finally, by the time it caught traction, it pulled out right in
the path.
in the path of the truck, and the truck couldn't avoid it. It smacked the back end of it and spun it like a top. So I, confronted the driver and I said, "This is what happened. These are your marks where
pulled out.
you tried to beat the truck, and you couldn't get traction because you were on the gravel." So that's physics.
Came clean. There you go. Yeah, it's someone said to me a long time ago, on a bike crash with a car, he said, you're not going to win against something that large with that much mass and velocity. Cement truck and a small pickup truck, the odds are kind of in the favor of the cement truck.
Yeah, and one of Newton's laws, force equals mass times acceleration.
Thank you very much. Excellent.
You can have a smaller vehicle push a semi-truck, but they have to be going a lot faster. You need a lot more acceleration to move that mass.
Oh, yes. So, oh, my God. Yeah, you guys see it every day. I mean, this is part of what happens on the highways, the roads, with driving. So I see it every day on Route 40.
Yeah, another one, another Newton's law is to every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah,
so
one of my favorites.
In a car, for instance, a car hits a wall at 60 miles an hour. Well, now that occupant is going to go forward at 60 miles an hour.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
I have two things you can debunk. One is, somewhere in my past, someone said that if you have a crash at 60 miles an hour, it's like falling in your car off of a 6-story building. If it's a 40 mile an hour 4-story building, is that craziness? Is that just a myth?
Yeah, that's just a myth.
Okay. Okay.
There's laws of gravity.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. You fall at 32.2 feet per second.
Yeah. And then, you're not going to reach terminal velocity unless you got a lot higher drop. So
unless you have a higher drop, or unless you're, in a dive position like a falcon.
Myth busted. Thank you.
Right.
And then one other funny story. This is something. One of my heroes, Dick Butkus, the famous Chicago Bear middle linebacker. When he was in college, this is a true story, he would drink a lot of beer, playing for Illinois, and he would jump out of cars at 55 miles an hour, and his theory, he never got hurt, was that once he got away from the moving vehicle, he slowed down to 0 and landed in the grass in the ditch and never was injured. Beer in hand. Do you think that's true? I've always wondered about that. I've never talked to an expert like you. When he broke away from the vehicle, did he keep going 55 or did he slow down?
He had to have attained the same acceleration
for a while.
The car was, and then
he spilled his beer.
You do slow down.
Yeah, then he spilled his beer. Yeah, okay. But yeah, isn't that a crazy myth? That was a story that hung around University of Illinois for decades. Yeah, Dick Butkus used to jump out of cars at 55 miles an hour, and he never got hurt.
Yeah, I doubt that. I doubt that.
Hey, so
maybe 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen pictures of him where his eyes were crossed, and that guy was a great player, but man, monsters of the Midway. So anyway, Hey, so I heard this from a member of your family, psychocyclist. Your wife, I believe, has called you that. You ride bikes.
I ride bikes, yeah.
Very cool. Mountain, gravel, road. What's your flavor?
I have an old road bike. It's an old Rally.
Nice.
Old Rally 600.
Yeah, those were classics.
Aluminum, but it suits me. I did a 100-miler in it a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done a century. Parts of my body said, no, don't do this again.
Yeah. I haven't done it since.
That's cool. I heard you do ride. So.
And then I have it's a Diamondback Sinker mountain bike.
Yeah, cool.
So.
Yeah, we'll have to go for a ride someday. That'd be fun, man. Get out and do some spinning. So.
But yeah, my wife calls me a psychocyclist because I've been in so many crashes that I tell her, hey, look at the Tour de France. Even the pros crash.
I'm going to tell you, I know a great personal injury law firm, by the way. We'll talk about that later, a little UM policy. So,
all right.
All right. So now, the moment I've been waiting for, I heard, and I've seen the footage, and we'll show it here, and when we produce this podcast episode, you were in the final seconds of the final episode, one of the most iconic TV series in history, Breaking Bad. Tell me something about that, man. And I've got more questions, but that one, that was so cool to see you step over him, the final scene of that show.
Yeah, that was quite a thing. I had heard that they were wanting real officers to audition for that role. So I applied, and they called me for an audition.
Cool.
And I got the part. And if you've watched the whole story, you know, Vince Gilligan, the director,
right.
he loves authenticity. So, you know, he wanted real officers to play that part.
Yeah.
And so we filmed it, I think, 6 months before it aired.
Wow.
And, you know, we had to sign the non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, yeah. No sneaking out.
I wouldn't even tell my wife what happened. I didn't want to spoil the ending.
Yeah.
And
She's
I don't want to spoil the ending for any listeners.
Yeah.
But I would threaten to tell her. I'm like, I'm going to tell you what happened.
And she's like,
no, don't tell me.
No, that is so dramatic. And for me personally, when you told me that, it meant so much because the song that was playing, Baby Blue by Badfinger,
right.
I was friends with Joey Mullen in the band. And I was in Chicago when he was doing a gig, and we had beers and we hung out. But before he went on stage, a gentleman from Jam Productions said, and we just want to announce something, the final episode of Breaking Bad just aired, and Joey Mullen just got $1 million for 1 million hits on, I believe it was Apple iTunes, for that song.
From that.
Yeah. So, and that was just the beginning. That was like right after. So you can imagine how many people saw that final episode of you stepping over the hero of the show. And we will show this. It'll be pretty cool for people to see it. So
yeah, it was such an iconic show, and the people are great. You know, I was also in Better Call Saul, the prequel,
right,
which was afterward. But
yeah.
Great characters.
So, all right, so this opened the door now for all this other. How many films have you been in? I mean, I added some of them up. It looks to be about 6. And you know, you can tell us some of the ones you've been in, but real quick, back to the authenticity. You usually got incredible roles as law enforcement or military, you know, and that's interesting, man. Those directors and casting people were looking for authenticity.
Yeah, well, I've maintained the state police haircut.
Yeah,
all these years.
It looks good.
So.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. Yeah,
I frequently get selected. Like, you come over here.
Yeah, very cool. So, other than Breaking Bad, which you know that one's up here, but name another film that someone may have seen that you were in.
I had a lot of camera time in Army of the Dead.
Yeah, great
Zack
film.
Snyder.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Ridiculous Six,
which
I didn't play.
Boy.
I was surprised they didn't make me like a native sheriff or something.
Yeah. But that one, you actually met him, didn't you? In that
Adam Sandler.
Yes, in that film. Yeah.
So some of the other ones, let's see, Hell or High Water.
That was a great
had a
movie.
pretty good role in that one. There's quite a bit. There was a local series that was shot here called The Night Shift.
Yeah.
It was based out of San Antonio, Texas, but it was filmed
about
here.
That being produced, right?
And I was on, I think, every season of that, just as a background police officer.
Yeah. That's really cool, man. It gave you something to have some fun doing something,
it was fun.
But use all the experience and that haircut. So, no, it's interesting. When we talked about that, the whole authenticity. Many moons ago, I worked on the Marlboro cigarette account. I'll go somewhere for that someday. But in 1956, the gentleman who created the Marlboro Cowboy was the father of a good friend of mine at the time, and he said that they had thought about using models, actors, for the Marlboro Cowboy. And they showed up for their first shoot out somewhere in the Monument Valley or somewhere. And after the first guy opened his mouth and did a little scene, they said, cut, kill it, and they went home. And from 56 till I was on it in the early 90s, used real cowboys. It just made all the difference, man. They were, real people. They knew what they were doing. Man of few words, self-reliant. Probably the same thing with you with the law enforcement. I saw you in one of your films, and I saw you were playing the bit. It was a hard ass. You weren't saying anything. You were just looking at the guy.
Yeah, I can give that look.
I know. I saw it daring him. Yeah, come on. Who had just robbed a bank, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So very cool.
My kids didn't like that look.
I saw that from my father. Yeah, I know that was trouble. It's like, uh-oh. So great transition when you talked about your son. When we first met, you told me that you played the guitar. We bonded on that. Talked about playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And then one day, you told me about your son Richard, and you said, "I want to show you something." And you sent me a video link of him playing flamenco, and I was humbled. I mean, I'm a 3-chord wonder. I play rock.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about Richard and his flamenco guitar playing. Man, that was just incredible.
Yeah, I initially started teaching my younger son to play, and then Ricardo started to sit in and listen, and they eventually traded.
Interesting.
Ricardo had a Sony Walkman, and my younger son Paul wanted it, so they traded the guitar and Walkman, and then I started teaching Ricardo to play. And in less than a year, I taught him all that I could, but he was still hungry for more, so he learned how to read tab.
Wow.
He got into the mariachi group at Powaka High School.
Yeah.
And learned. I mean, he learned so quick. Just in a year, he was playing Eddie Van Halen's Eruption.
All right. Once again, you've done it, my friend. We're on some kind of a vibe here. There's that famous story. Alex Van Halen actually was playing the guitar, and Eddie was on the drums. Interesting story. And one day they looked at each other and they said, "I don't know, man. It's not feeling right." They switched instruments. The rest is history. So there you go. A boombox and a flamenco guitar made all the difference. So
yeah. So then he learned from one of his teachers that played flamenco, and then he started playing for a real small company.
Yeah.
And he started studying under a gypsy guitarist by the name of Chuscales, who's from Granada.
Interesting.
Very famous guitarist. He's been living in Santa Fe for many years now.
Yeah.
But he taught him, some incredible techniques, and they played together.
Wow.
For Hijastros, the local dance company.
Man.
So
yeah, the video I saw had a woman that was dancing with your son playing, and it was really impressive. I mean, dramatic.
Yeah, so he just developed such a love for it, and it's a real tight-knit community.
Yeah.
But they accepted him, and he got to travel the country, and even went to Colombia with another dance company, and he was very sought after.
I heard some horrible thing happen, I guess 12 years ago. He was playing at a gig, and why don't you tell us? I mean, something happened, life-changing, a stroke.
He was playing a flamenco gig in Laredo, Texas, with some friends of his that were from that area.
Right.
And during intermission of the show, he went backstage, and he just always had a lot of tension in his shoulders from playing so hard, and just being focused on the dancer and on the singer. Right. So he self-manipulated and cracked his neck, and started to feel dizzy. And so he thought, well, maybe I've got low blood sugar or something. So he opened a Coke and tried to take a drink, but by then he had already lost the ability to swallow. So he started gagging on it and felt really weak and couldn't hold himself up. So there were a couple of doctors in the audience, so they called them, and
Wow.
they went to his aid.
Wow.
And an ambulance arrived within 5 minutes.
Saved his life.
The hospital was only like 5 minutes away.
Oh, man. As he used to say, a dream gig right there. I mean, that was, think about that. Like it happens. This happens at home, middle of the night by yourself or with your spouse or whatever. And you know what I mean? Not medically trained. So, oh my God.
So we happened to be in Taos for the funeral of an aunt who died of complications of a stroke. When we got the call from his friends saying, this is what happened, and he's in the ER, and he's refusing the blood clot busting drug. Yeah. And so they put him on the phone with me, and I could barely understand him, but I told him,
do it.
You need that to clear that clot and get that blood flowing in your brain.
Wow.
So he trusted me, and he did it.
Good. Man.
And we drove 16 hours straight down to get to where he was.
That's a parent's thing about worst nightmare. To have that happen at a distance.
It was stressful.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad I've heard he's okay. And by the way, a little sidebar here is, and maybe we'll even play some of this. He helped us with a recording recently of Happy Birthday. So it's so nice of him to do that, and I'm so glad he's back.
He's
so
very generous, very bright young man. He's now a sheriff's deputy with Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department.
All right, following the footsteps. Now you got to pick up flamenco, man. Now you got to take flamenco.
I'm trying, but I'm not as good a student as he is.
You're gonna flip the roles here, Eddie Van Halen.
Right.
Now, tell me if this is true, man. I all these great things that I have here. We're get a chance to meet with you. That you're putting your thoughts together and writing down a story about your son, about what happened to him, and quite a story, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through.
Wow.
Just trying to still tell the story of his, beginning, the stroke, the recovery process, the faith, and doing things naturally instead of through Western medicine.
Yeah, I agree. Nice.
And it's, he's come a long way. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
That he had this terrible stroke that hit 2 parts of his brain.
Wow. Somewhere here in the near future, we should have a performance, have him play. We'll find the occasion or the place and do it, man. That'd be so cool. And we'll have you play the boombox.
I can play the radio.
Hey, Rick, this has been fun, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I know what I'm doing this weekend, man. I'm going to watch some of the films you've been in. So, and I'm going to watch. And again, we'll put a few clips in here so the people that watch and listen to this can see it. So, thank you very much, man.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Chris.
You have a great weekend. Thank you.